Steph here with Crafty Ladybug. Today's lesson is going to be on the PICKET style of fence. Actually, this is the sailor's reef knot bracelet technique that I have on my channel. If you've already done that bracelet, you can see the similarities as far as this is the arm of the bracelet or the side of the bracelet, and this is the technique that I use to fill in the bracelet. Then I just decided, oh, that would look like a cute PICKET style of fence. So I added 2 posts, and there we have got our fence to go along with our garden arch that was done in the same type of technique. So today's fence is going to be made using brown because that shows up better on camera for me. And I want to let you guys know you do need a few extra supplies. A piece of 16 gauge craft wire that you can find at your local Walmart, craft store, or if you're having problems there, go to your flower shop, a flower shop within your town. They should have a couple pieces of 16 gauge wire for you. If you can't find the wire, toothpicks. 2 wooden toothpicks will also do the job. I would recommend that you paint your toothpicks or wire in whatever color you're doing your project. That way it doesn't show through when you get your project done, as the green wire did here in my example. So let's begin today's lesson with our loom set in the offset configuration, meaning that your center peg is taller than the left and the right. We're going to be using about 34 green rubber bands and somewhere along the lines of 100 or so brown rubber bands. You can use white, you can use yellow, you can use whatever color you want to make your fence. I am just using brown today because I want it to go along with the brown arch that I did, so I can finish off a project here. So to begin the tutorial or lesson, I'm sorry for those of you that don't like my little speech of tutorial, but that's how I say it. You say tomato, I say tomato, and let's just get that out of the way right now. But just to make things go a little easier for this lesson, take and set yourself on the side of your desk a pile or a little area of 2 rubber bands. And you want to gather up 2 green rubber bands, and you want to make 2, 4, 6, 8 piles of 2 rubber bands. Then for your brown, you want to get together 3 rubber bands, and you also want to make a little pile of 8 of those. That's just going to make it a little bit easier for you to follow along with the video. So if you need to hit the pause button right here and do that, make yourself 8 piles of 3 in brown and 8 piles of 2 in green. Now we still will be needing a few extra single bands along the way, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So hit pause here. Gather your things, get yourself straight, and we will get back with doing the fence. Okay, now that we're back, we have ourselves straight. The first thing we're going to be making is the post. For the post, you will be needing a total of 2. I'm doing 1 on camera here with you. Then at the end, you will also have to hit the pause button and rewind to make the second fence post that we'll need. The first thing I want you to do is to take a single band, place it on your center peg, and have it just dangle over the edge. For many of you that have done my videos before, know that this is my closing band. That's the band that I use to slip knot the whole project together. The next step is to take 2 bands going from left 1 to center 1, 2 single bands going from center 1 to right 1, 2 bands going from left 1 to left 2, 2 bands going from center 1 to center 2, 2 bands going from right 1 to right 2, 2 additional bands going here in the center, center 2 to center 3, and then we need to close off this area right there. 2 bands going from left 2 to center 3, 2 bands going from right 2 to center 3. And now we're ready to cap off this band here. What we're going to be doing is to make half of the base, applying the layer of the fence post, and then we're going to be finishing up our base. So we need to lay our cap bands and our horizontal bands for that. Take a single band, double twist it on your fingers, and place it on left 2, center 2, and over to right 2 to form a triangle. Then we're going to cap band center number 3 3 times. Many of you can do the cap band as twisting it on, but you want to make sure that there are 3 bands or 1 band twisted 3 times around that peg. Some of you like to use your hook as I'm demonstrating here. Place your hook through the center of your band once, twist and twice, twist and back through to make 3 bands show up on your hook. Looks like 3 bands on my hook. I'm stretching that out over that peg. And now we're ready to start to loom this portion of our creation. We're going to loom up to a certain spot, then we're going to stop and redo the post, or start with the post. Reach into your cap band, grab the 2 bands that are on top, and if you're following along with my instructions, they're going to the right. Reach into your band, cap band, grab the 2 bands that are on the top, and this one's going off to my left. Reach into your band again, that cap band, pushing back on it, grabbing the bottom 2 bands, and you're looping straight forward. Now we just need to push this whole area down, and we have to start to lay our brown bands. When we lay our brown bands, we're just going to be coming right down this center peg, and we're going to be coming down 8 times. We're going to start on center 2 to center 3. So center 2 to center 3, take 3 bands and lay that across center 2 to center 3. 3 bands coming down our loom, 3 additional bands coming down our loom, 3 down, and we're doing this for a total of 8 times. So it's just our 3 bands coming right down the loom. And now you can see the ease in following along with setting our little 3 band piles of 8 out. So here we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. A total of 8 sets of 3 bands. I need to cap this end off with a 3-time cap band. Means that you want to make sure that there are 3 loops on your hook or around that peg, whichever way you find easiest to do your cap bands. Now let's finish this post, reaching into our cap band, grabbing those 3 bands, and we're going to come straight forward. And we're just going to do basically a straight chain, grabbing all 3 bands and just looping straight forward. This is a pretty simple technique, and if any of you guys have made bracelets before, you should have this straight loop forward under control until we get to the point where we meet our green band on the bottom, which will be center peg number 3. For center peg number 3, you want to reach in there and you just want to grab the 3 brown bands, or whatever color you're using for your post, and loop forward. For center peg number 2, you want to reach all the way down in there and grab what's going to be the bottom 2 bands and loop forward. Now we need to finish off our left side. We can't forget about that. And we need to finish off our right side. So let's do those right now. Reach in, grabbing your bottom 2 bands, pushing back everything that's there, and come forward. Reach in, bottom 2 bands, and come across to the center. We can finish the right side by reaching in, grabbing the bottom 2 bands. You want to push back everything else and just pull out the 2 bands on the bottom and loop forward. 2 bands and loop across to the center. Now we're ready to tie off the project. I take my dangle band and just kind of secure it on my finger. You want to reach into that center peg number 1. You want to pull back everything that's in there. So pull back everything that's in there, and you want to get to that last band, which is our dangle band. Pull it out, keep it on your hook, and then take your finger and slide the other end over. And then the first end that's on the hook, we're just slip knotting that off. Now we're ready to remove our project. And I always use the back of my hook just because some areas have a lot of tension. If you don't have a hook like mine, you can use a skewer. Honestly, I used to crochet, so crochet hooks are more comfortable to me than the Rainbow Loom hooks. That's why in my videos I hardly ever use a Rainbow Loom hook. I do like them. I just don't, it's not comfortable for me with it being thicker here. I like the thinner and I can get a better grip, and it just comes from years of crocheting for me, and this is just what I'm comfortable with. So our fence is here. You need to tighten up your slip knot, and you need to hide that in the base of your bottom. If any of your bands are twisted, you want to take a minute to straighten those out and just get them looking nice and straight. Like here I've got a band that's twisted over. I don't know if you can see that too well, but you just want to take a minute and you want to get that straight and straighten those out by tugging on them a little bit. So rewind and make yourself another fence post, and then when we get back, we will lay out our bands for the center section, add our fence post, and do the center and loom everything together. So I'll be back with you guys in just a couple minutes. Hey guys, welcome back. Here we have our 2 fence posts that are done, and the next steps that we're going to be doing are to lay bands along our left side and our right side of our loom. We're going to be laying 2 bands all the way down to form a chain, and 2 bands all the way down to form a chain, and that's going to be our railing right here. Then before we loop it together, we're going to be placing on the slip knots, and then we'll loom the whole project together. If you want easier assistance in following along, take and make 12 rows, or a row of 12 double bands. So here on my right side, you will see 3 rows. This is 12 double bands, 12 double bands, and 12 double bands. If you want to follow along and that makes it easier for you, hit the pause button here and just get those laid out. But for camera purposes, it's just going to make picking bands up easier for me. So let's begin our project by placing one of those bands on the left peg. Remember, our loom is set in the offset configuration with the arrows pointing towards our body, and one band dangling off the right peg. So the next thing we want to do is to take 2 bands, and we're going to come down the left, and I'm just going to work my whole way down the left side with these 2 bands. And we're just basically forming a single chain here. That's kind of the technique of the single chain bracelet, but we're using double bands. And you just want to place those all the way down the loom. I'm sorry if my hands are in the way. To the nature of the beast with this project. And 2 bands on the very end. Now we have our left side done. We want to come back up here and we want to do our right side with 2 bands. And I can't get that one on there today, 2 bands. And just keep working your way down the right side. We're not going to be using the center pegs for this project. So you just want to continue to lay your 2 bands all the way down the loom. And once we get to the bottom there, we will stop and we'll learn something new. Okay. My last 2. And I like to try to keep them as straight as possible. So if they don't go on straight, just kind of tidy them up a little bit. So here we have our last two on our loom, and we need to apply our post onto the end of our loom, and the post is going to be what we're using as the cap band. So I want you to take your post and I want you to count up 2 links from the bottom. Here's link number 1 and here's link number 2. Pierce through link number 2 all the way through, and then we're going to stretch out link number 2 over that peg on the left. Then we're going to count up to link number 7. That was link number 2. Link number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, and number 7. We're going to pierce through link number 7, piercing through link number 7, and we're going to stretch it out and over the right peg. And this is really hard to show you guys a close-up of it because of the camera angle, and I'm sorry, but here's what it looks like. Post number 2, or post number 1, link number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, and number 7 is stretched out over. We need to do the same thing on the opposite end. Piercing through link number 2 and stretching it out over the right peg. You want to make sure that your bottom is facing the same way. Make sure that your green end is facing the same way. We're going to stretch this out and we're going to count to link number 7. This is link number 2 that we got before. Number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, and number 7 is underneath my fingers here. We're going to stretch that out over our right peg. And there we have our other post attached to the opposite end of our fence. Now for the inside pieces, we need to slip knot 2 rubber bands together. So we want to take 2 rubber bands. I hold one in my left hand and one in my right. I place my right band over the one that I have in my left. And then you want to reach in through the center and grab over, and then the left side you want to grab under, and you want to tie it off in a slip knot. And we're going to take this slip knot and we're going to place it on our loom across the next available pegs. We're going to do this technique all the way up the loom. So left band, right on top, reach in to grab the left from the top, reach in from the bottom of the left to grab the right, and slip knot it together. Once you get that technique down, it will go pretty quickly for you. Left band, right band, lay them on top of each other. Reach in above on the right, reach underneath on the left, and pull them tighter and slip knot it together. Left band, reach in on the right, reach under on the left. Left band, reach in on top on the right, down underneath on the left, and place on the loom. Right band, left band, on top, under, and pull tighter. And all I'm doing is just laying those on the available pegs in between my post. Right and left. And once again, you can always go at your own speed and pace. Right and left. And once you get that down, it's pretty quick. Once you get the movement figured out, it goes pretty fast. Reach in, reach under, and pull tighter. Reach in, go under, and pull tighter. And then we should have one more to do. Reach in, pull under, and go tighter. There we go. So now we have all of our little links placed on our loom, and I'm just going to turn it so you guys can get a close-up view. My arrow is here pointing towards the right now. So this is how your loom should look all the way down to the end cap post. Now we're ready to loom. Looming is going to be pretty simple. Take and pull back all of your fence pieces on the left side, all that post piece. And you want to grab the bottom 2 bands, which is part of that single chain that we just laid. And you want to loop forward. The next link, you want to push back on that side, that band, as a horizontal band, and grab the bottom 2 bands and loop forward. Pushing back your horizontal, bottom 2, and come forward. Push back on your horizontal, bottom 2, loop forward. We're going to do this all the way up the loom, pushing back the horizontal, grabbing our bottom 2, and looping forward until we get to the very end. I'm going to pick up my speed just a little bit. Most of you are familiar with pushing back the horizontal band. Push back, grab bottom 2, and come forward. Push back, whoop, missed that one, bottom 2, and come forward. Push back, bottom 2, come forward. Push back, bottom 2, and come forward. And now we are to our end post. For our end post, you want to reach in, placing your dangle band on your finger just to secure it, but reach in through that post, and you're going through everything. You want to push back everything. You want to reach in there, and you want to grab that band that's on the bottom, which was our dangle band that we started with. You just want to pull it up out through the post, keep it on your hook, place the other end on your hook, and we're slip knotting that together. And this is going to be what holds our whole creation together. Kind of want to weave it around the peg nail just so that it keeps nice and tight. We'll have to tighten that up again once we get ready to take it off the loom. We still need to do our right side. Very similar concept. Reach in, grabbing your bottom 2 bands, and you're pulling out your bottom 2 bands and looping forward. You're reaching in, pushing back that horizontal, grabbing your bottom 2 bands and looping forward. Push back, loop forward. Push back the horizontal, loop forward. I find it easier to pick up my loom. Everybody works at their own pace and their own kind of technique. I find it easier to loom by holding it. But I'm basically just doing the same thing I did on the left side, pushing back that horizontal band. And I'm just grabbing the bottom 2 each time. And coming forward, and I'm almost to the end. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Here we go. Now we want to do the same thing we did on the left side. We want to reach that dangle band. I secure mine on my other finger. Reach in, pushing back everything that's there. You want to grab that dangle band that's on the very bottom. Pull it up through. Secure it on your hook. Slide the other end over. And then slip knot it off. Now we are ready to take our project off the loom. And as always, I use the back of my hook. And I'm relieving the tension on those tight spots. You want to, once you get that post off, you want to just tighten it up a little bit more. Tighten up your dangle bands. That one's going to slip off. If you're using jelly bands, you might have to use a C-clip there, or choose a different kind of band to tie it off, because the jelly bands always come undone for me. And then I am just going to take the rest of this project off the loom until I get to the bottom, which is where I'm going to use my hook again. And I'm just going to slide my hook in there. And here we have got our kind of our pickety style of fence. And the next thing that we need to do is to take our toothpicks and we're going to weave in our toothpick to give the fence support. If you want to add grass to the bottom of your fence, keep watching the video. I have attached another little lesson, a mini lesson, to teach you how to add grass to your fence. So keep watching the video in order to see how to do that. But let's begin with placing our toothpicks. I kind of just go through the second peg, the second link. Sorry, I said peg. And you just want to pick up a single band somewhere along the way as you're coming through that chain. If you pick up two, it's okay. It's not a big deal. But you just want to grab another little piece of band somewhere in each end of the link that you're coming to. And you want to gently just keep pushing and working that through. And picking up and continuing on. And just keep flipping. And we will eventually get to the other end. Oop. Just keep going. And I've reached my opposite end, and I'm just still poking through to come out on that second side. And then you want to stretch it out over, give a nice even form over your toothpick. If you want your fence wider, it'd be better to use the wire. Wire will make your fence be longer than the toothpicks because you can cut it at any length. Don't forget to hide your little securing band on each side. And once we get the second toothpick added, it will stretch it out and give it a nice defined look there. So I'll let you guys weave through your second toothpick. If you're adding grass, hit the pause button until you get your toothpick through there, and then continue to watch the next little clip for how to add grass to your fence. I hope you guys will continue to watch. Post your creations on my Facebook page at Crafty Ladybug - Rainbow Loom Creations, and I will see your stuff. Hope you'll visit me again soon. Thanks. Hey guys, it's Steph again at Crafty Ladybug. Today's little lesson mini tutorial is how to add grass to the bottom of your fence post to make it look slightly more realistic. This is a very simple process. You want to take a random set, can be 2, can be 1, can be 3. I'm using 2 today, a darker green and a light green. You want to take those bands, put them around your finger, grab a single band down here on your green base, and all we're doing is just picking up, pulling that through one of those green bands on the base, and we're going to slip knot that together and on there. And I have pulled my single band out just a little bit too far, so you want to kind of tuck that back down in some. And this is just an easy, quick way to get you to add some additional grass look and texture to your fence post. You just want to grab in random areas around on the green base, grab a single band or a couple bands if you need to. I'm going to pick 2 bands up from the base this time, and I'm going to use 2 of the same color green this time, no real rhyme or reason, and just slip knot that onto your fence bottom. And I would recommend doing it maybe in 3 areas, 2 or 1 on the front, 1 on the side, and do 1 in the back. Pull through and slip knot that off. Whoops, lost one of my bands there, and it just doesn't want to get on there today. Slip knot that off. And as I said, there's no real rhyme or reason to this. Then just take a pair of scissors and snip off the bands in random areas. You don't want them all to be the same height. So you want to kind of just snip a little here and a little there. Give a couple pieces a haircut. Be sure not to cut your bands on the bottom though. And here I'm just going to snip and snip and snip and snip. And here's a quick, easy way just to add some grass and texture to your fence post. With a little bit of fiddling, tuck that down in there a little bit. It's going to look really good. There you go. There's a quick little tip for you.